Question 1. Commercial general liability (CGL). Which of the following situations would most likely be excluded from coverage under a standard commercial general liability (CGL) policy? A. A customer is injured on the insured's premises due to a slippery floor. B. A breach of contract claim is brought against the insured for failing to deliver promised goods. C. An employee of the insured accidentally damages a client's property while providing services. D. A third party sues the insured for libel due to false statements made in an advertisement. Answer: B. A breach of contract claim is brought against the insured for failing to deliver promised goods. Explanation: A. Covered under bodily injury and property damage liability as it arises from the insured's premises. B. Excluded, as breach of contract claims are not considered accidental occurrences and fall outside the scope of CGL coverage. CGL policies typically focus on bodily injury, property damage, and certain personal and advertising injuries. C. Covered under property damage liability if the damage arises accidentally during the performance of business operations. D. Covered under personal and advertising injury liability for libel or slander claims. Relevant guideline. The CGL policy explicitly excludes coverage for contractual liability unless specifically endorsed. Refer to standard ISO CGL policy form exclusions. Question 2. Scenario-based question. Workers' compensation insurance. Scenario. Sarah, a construction worker employed by a BC Builders in Alabama, suffers a back injury while lifting heavy materials at the work site. Her injury requires medical treatment and leaves her unable to work for 3 weeks. A BC Builders is fully compliant with Alabama's workers' compensation laws. What benefits is Sarah not entitled to under workers' compensation insurance? A. Wage replacement benefits during a recovery period. B. Medical treatment for her injury. C. Pain and suffering damages. D. Vocational rehabilitation if she cannot return to her previous job. Answer: C. Pain and suffering damages. Explanation: A. Sarah is entitled to wage replacement benefits, typically calculated as a percentage of her average weekly wage. B. Workers' compensation covers all reasonable and necessary medical treatment for work-related injuries. C. Not covered, as workers' compensation laws in Alabama do not provide compensation for pain and suffering. The system is designed to ensure medical care and wage replacement without the need to establish fault, but excludes general damages like pain and suffering. D. If Sarah is permanently unable to return to her job, vocational rehabilitation services are covered to help her find alternative employment. Relevant law. Alabama Workers' Compensation Act, which outlines the benefits available to employees injured on the job and the exclusions such as pain and suffering. Question 3. Commercial property insurance. Under the building and personal property coverage form in Alabama, which of the following would not typically be covered without an endorsement? A. A building owned by the insured used for business operations. B. Stock and inventory stored in the insured's building. C. Flood damage to the insured property caused by rising waters. D. Machinery and equipment used in the insured's business. Answer: C. Flood damage to the insured property caused by rising waters. Explanation: A. Covered as it falls under real property used for business operations. B. Covered as business personal property is included in the base policy. C. Excluded, as flood damage is a peril excluded under the standard building and personal property coverage form. Flood coverage typically requires a separate policy or endorsement through programs like the NFIP National Flood Insurance Program. D. Covered under business personal property if the equipment is located at the insured premises. Relevant guidelines. Standard ISO building and personal property coverage form specifies exclusions for water damage, including floods, unless separately insured. Question 4. Commercial property insurance. A retail business experiences a fire that destroys its building and inventory. The policyholder has a commercial property insurance policy with an actual cash value (ACV) valuation. What is the basis for the insurer's claim payment? A. Replacement cost of the building and inventory. B. Current market value of the building and inventory after depreciation. C. Original purchase price of the building and inventory. D. Cost of repairs to restore the building and inventory to original condition. Answer: B. Current market value of the building and inventory after depreciation. Explanation: Actual cash value (ACV) considers depreciation and pays the current market value of the damaged or lost property, not the replacement or original purchase cost. Replacement cost policies, by contrast, pay the cost to replace without depreciation. Depreciation is subtracted based on the age and condition of the items. Question 5. Workers' compensation insurance. Which of the following is not typically covered under Alabama workers' compensation insurance? A. Medical benefits for work-related injuries. B. Wage replacement during recovery from an injury. C. Compensation for intentional self-inflicted injuries. D. Employer liability for workplace accidents. Answer: C. Compensation for intentional self-inflicted injuries. Explanation: Workers' compensation covers accidental injuries and illnesses arising from employment. Injuries intentionally caused by the employer are excluded as they fall outside the scope of the employer's responsibility. Alabama law emphasizes coverage for injuries sustained in the course of employment under specific conditions. Question 6. Scenario-based commercial general liability. CGL scenario: Susan owns a bakery and is sued after a customer suffers food poisoning allegedly caused by a cake purchased from her store. Her commercial general liability (CGL) policy includes coverage for product liability. What will the insurer most likely do? A. Deny the claim entirely because Susan cannot prove the customer ate the cake. B. Cover the costs of defending Susan in court but not any settlement payments. C. Provide defense costs and indemnify Susan for damages awarded in the lawsuit up to the policy limit. D. Reimburse Susan for the loss of business revenue caused by the lawsuit. Answer: C. Provide defense costs and indemnify Susan for damages awarded in the lawsuit up to the policy limit. Explanation: CGL policies cover product liability claims including allegations of harm caused by goods sold by the business. Defense costs and indemnity are standard provided the claim falls within the policy terms. Lost revenue is typically excluded unless covered under business income insurance. Question 7. Crime insurance. Which of the following is a specific exclusion under most employee theft coverage provisions in crime insurance? A. Loss caused by employees acting in collusion with third parties. B. The loss caused by an employee discovered to have a prior theft conviction. C. Loss of cash during an armed robbery. D. Loss caused by a temporary employee. Answer: B. Loss caused by an employee discovered to have a prior theft conviction. Explanation: Employee theft coverage usually excludes employees with prior theft convictions as they represent a known risk. Losses involving collusion, temporary employees, or robbery are generally covered subject to policy conditions. Question 8. Business Owners Policy (BOP). A small restaurant's business owners policy (BOP) includes an equipment breakdown endorsement. Which of the following scenarios would this endorsement likely cover? A. A fire damages the restaurant's kitchen equipment. B. A power surge causes the walk-in freezer compressor to fail. C. The restaurant loses revenue due to a local power outage. D. A customer sues the restaurant for food poisoning. Answer: B. A power surge causes the walk-in freezer compressor to fail. Explanation: Equipment breakdown endorsements cover mechanical or electrical equipment failures, such as compressor damage from a power surge. Fire and revenue loss due to local outages are covered under other parts of the policy or separate endorsements. Liability claims are handled under the general liability section, not equipment breakdown. Question 9. Umbrella and excess liability coverage. Which of the following is a primary purpose of an umbrella policy? A. To provide additional coverage for property damage. B. To extend the coverage limits of underlying liability policies. C. To cover risks excluded by the underlying policies. D. To replace primary insurance coverage for small claims. Answer: B. To extend the coverage limits of underlying liability policies. Explanation: Umbrella policies offer excess liability protection by extending the limits of primary insurance. They may also provide drop-down coverage for specific claims excluded by the primary policies, subject to conditions. These policies do not replace primary coverage or cover small claims. Question 10. Commercial auto insurance. Under a commercial auto insurance policy, which of the following vehicles would typically be considered? A covered auto under Symbol 1. Lenny Auto. A. A personal vehicle used occasionally for business purposes. B. A hired delivery truck used during a peak season. C. A vehicle rented by an employee on a business trip. D. All of the above. Answer: D. All of the above. Explanation: Symbol 1 provides the broadest coverage, encompassing any auto including owned, hired, and non-owned vehicles used in the course of business. This ensures comprehensive liability protection for diverse operational needs. Question 11. Flood insurance. Which of the following statements about flood insurance through the National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP) is TRUE? A. Flood insurance is included in standard homeowners insurance policies. B. Flood insurance covers damages caused by sewer backups even when not caused by flooding. C. NFIP policies have a 30-day waiting period before coverage becomes effective. D. NFIP policies cover damage to landscaping and outdoor property. Answer: C. NFIP policies have a 30-day waiting period before coverage becomes effective. Explanation: NFIP policies require a 30-day waiting period except in specific circumstances such as loan closings. Standard homeowners insurance excludes flood damage, and sewer backups are only covered if caused by flooding. Landscaping and outdoor property are not covered under NFIP policies. Question 12. Homeowners insurance. Liability coverage. A guest is injured after slipping on a homeowner's icy driveway. What is the purpose of the liability coverage in a standard homeowner's insurance policy in this scenario? A. To pay for the medical bills of the injured guest. B. To cover legal costs if the homeowner is sued by the guest. C. To repair the driveway to prevent future injuries. D. To reimburse the homeowner for lost wages due to the lawsuit. Answer: B. To cover legal costs if the homeowner is sued by the guest. Explanation: liability coverage pays for legal defense and damages if the policyholder is found legally responsible for injury to others. Medical payments coverage, a separate component, may cover medical bills regardless of fault. Driveway repairs and lost wages are not covered. Question 13. Commercial auto. Physical damage coverage. Which type of commercial auto policy coverage would protect against damage to a company vehicle caused by vandalism? A. Collision coverage. B. Comprehensive coverage. C. Liability coverage. D. Uninsured motorist coverage. Answer: B. Comprehensive coverage. Explanation: comprehensive coverage protects against non-collision related incidents, including vandalism, theft, and natural disasters. Collision coverage addresses damage from accidents involving the vehicle. Liability and uninsured motorist coverage address damages to others or coverage gaps for bodily injury or property damage. Question 14. Professional liability insurance. Which professional would most likely require errors and omissions (EO) insurance? A. A surgeon performing complex surgeries. B. A real estate agent advising on property transactions. C. A construction contractor building residential homes. D. An employee managing company payroll. Answer: B. A real estate agent advising on property transactions. Explanation: EO insurance protects professionals from claims related to negligence, errors, or omissions in services provided. Surgeons typically require malpractice insurance, and contractors often carry general liability policies. Question 15. Scenario-based business income insurance. Scenario: a printing company suffers a fire that destroys its presses, forcing the business to shut down for 3 months. The policyholder has business income insurance. What does this coverage typically pay for? A. The cost to replace the destroyed printing presses. B. Loss of revenue during the downtime. C. Penalties for failing to meet client deadlines. D. Legal defense costs from client lawsuits. Answer: B. Loss of revenue during the downtime. Explanation: business income insurance reimburses lost revenue and ongoing expenses, e.g. rent, payroll, during the period of restoration. Replacement costs and legal defense require separate coverages such as property insurance and liability policies. Question 16. Umbrella liability insurance. What is the key benefit of purchasing an umbrella liability insurance policy? A. It provides primary coverage for smaller claims. B. It eliminates the need for other liability insurance. C. It offers additional liability limits beyond underlying policies. D. It guarantees coverage for excluded risks in the underlying policy. Answer: C. It offers additional liability limits beyond underlying policies. Explanation: umbrella insurance extends liability coverage, offering higher limits to protect against large claims. It does not replace primary insurance and typically excludes risks specifically excluded in the underlying policies. Question 17. Workers' compensation. Covered injuries. Which of the following injuries would likely be covered under workers' compensation insurance? A. An employee sprains an ankle while commuting to work. B. An employee develops carpal tunnel syndrome from repetitive tasks at work. C. An employee injures their back while playing on the company's softball team. D. An employee burns their hand while cooking at home. Answer: B. An employee develops carpal tunnel syndrome from repetitive tasks at work. Explanation: workers' compensation covers injuries and illnesses arising out of and in the course of employment, including repetitive strain injuries. Commutes and non-work-related activities are generally excluded unless specific exceptions apply. Question 18. Cyber liability insurance. Which of the following risks is typically covered under a cyber liability insurance policy? A. Physical damage to computer servers from a fire. B. Legal costs arising from a data breach exposing customer information. C. Theft of cash from a business is registered by an employee. D. Natural disaster recovery for lost data. Answer: B. Legal costs arising from a data breach exposing customer information. Explanation: cyber liability insurance covers financial losses due to cyber attacks, including data breaches, legal defense, and regulatory fines. Physical damage and employee theft fall under other insurance types, such as property or crime policies. Question 19. Inland marine insurance. Inland marine insurance is primarily designed to cover A. buildings and permanently attached structures. B. Property transported over land or specialized equipment. C. Liability for marine vessel accidents. D. Inventory stored at a fixed location. Answer: B. Property transported over land or specialized equipment. Explanation: inland marine insurance protects movable property and goods in transit, as well as unique or high-value equipment not confined to one location. Fixed property and buildings are covered under property insurance. Question 20. Health insurance. Pre-existing conditions. Under the Affordable Care Act, insurers are prohibited from A. charging higher premiums based on age. B. denying coverage due to pre-existing conditions. C. offering coverage to individuals under employer-sponsored plans. D. limiting out-of-pocket costs for all policyholders. Answer: B. denying coverage due to pre-existing conditions. Explanation: the ACA ensures individuals cannot be denied health coverage or charged higher premiums solely due to pre-existing conditions. While age-based premium adjustments are allowed, within limits, out-of-pocket costs are capped for essential benefits only. Question 21. Homeowners insurance. Dwelling coverage. Which of the following is typically an OT covered under the dwelling coverage of a standard homeowner's insurance policy? A. Damage caused by a fire in the home. B. Damage caused by an earthquake. C. Damage caused by a tree falling on the home. D. Damage caused by a burst water pipe. Answer: B. Damage caused by an earthquake. Explanation: standard homeowners insurance policies exclude earthquake damage, which requires a separate endorsement or policy. Fire, falling trees, and burst pipes are generally covered. Question 22. Auto insurance. Medical payments coverage. What does the medical payments coverage in an auto insurance policy typically cover? A. repairs to the insured's vehicle after an accident. B. legal defense costs if the insured is sued. C. medical expenses for the driver and passengers of the insured vehicle. D. damage caused to another person's property. Answer: C. medical expenses for the driver and passengers of the insured vehicle. Explanation: medical payments coverage pays for medical expenses for the insured and their passengers, regardless of fault. It does not cover vehicle repairs, legal defense, or third-party property damage. Question 23. Commercial property insurance. Business interruption. Which of the following would trigger a business interruption insurance claim? A. A key employee leaves the company unexpectedly. B. The company loses a major contract. C. The company's office is damaged by a covered peril forcing temporary closure. D. The company's computer system crashes due to user error. Answer: C. The company's office is damaged by a covered peril forcing temporary closure. Explanation: business interruption insurance covers loss of income when a covered peril disrupts operations, such as fire or storm damage. It does not cover business decisions or system errors unrelated to covered events. Question 24. Personal umbrella insurance. When does a personal umbrella insurance policy typically come into effect? A. When the insured needs coverage for their business activities. B. After the limits of the insured's underlying liability policies are exhausted. C. When the insured's claim involves physical property damage. D. Automatically, as the first layer of insurance for all claims. Answer: B. After the limits of the insured's underlying liability policies are exhausted. Explanation: personal umbrella insurance provides excess liability coverage once the limits of underlying policies like auto or homeowners insurance are reached. Question 25. Workers' compensation. Exclusions. Which of the following scenarios would likely not be covered by workers' compensation insurance? A. An employee is injured in a car accident while making a delivery for work. B. An employee is injured during a scheduled work break in the company lounge. C. An employee is injured while attending a mandatory work conference. D. An employee is injured while engaging in horseplay on the job. Answer: D. An employee is injured while engaging in horseplay on the job. Explanation: injuries caused by horseplay or misconduct are generally excluded from workers' compensation coverage unless the activity is condoned by the employer. Question 26. Flood insurance. Contents coverage. What does the contents coverage in a flood insurance policy under the NFIP typically cover? A. Damage to landscaping. B. Furniture and electronics. C. Foundation repairs. D. Outdoor equipment. Answer: B. Furniture and electronics. Explanation: contents coverage under NFIP protects personal property like furniture, electronics, and clothing, but excludes items like landscaping, outdoor equipment, or structural repairs. Question 27. Scenario-based general liability insurance. Scenario: the customer slips on a wet floor in a store, resulting in a lawsuit against the business. What type of coverage would address this situation? A. Property insurance. B. General liability insurance. C. Workers' compensation insurance. D. Commercial auto insurance. Answer: B. General liability insurance. Explanation: general liability insurance protects businesses from third-party claims for bodily injury or property damage occurring on the premises. Question 20. Commercial auto. Uninsured motorist coverage. What does uninsured motorist coverage in a commercial auto policy typically cover? A. Damage to the insured vehicle caused by vandalism. B. Injuries to employees when struck by an uninsured driver. C. Property damage caused by an insured driver. D. Medical expenses for passengers in another vehicle. Answer: B. Injuries to employees when struck by an uninsured driver. Explanation: uninsured motorist coverage addresses injuries caused by uninsured or hit-and-run drivers. Property damage coverage may also be included depending on the policy. Question 29. Directors and officers DO insurance. Which of the following is the primary purpose of directors and officers DO insurance? A. To cover legal costs for discrimination claims filed by employees. B. To protect company leadership from personal liability for decisions made in their official capacity. C. To provide medical coverage for workplace injuries. D. To insure against damage to company property. Answer: B. To protect company leadership from personal liability for decisions made in their official capacity. Explanation: DO insurance covers executives for claims related to their professional decisions and management activities. Question 30. Health insurance. Out-of-pocket maximum. What is the purpose of an out-of-pocket maximum in a health insurance policy? A. To set the maximum monthly premium the insured must pay. B. To limit the total amount the insured must pay for covered services during a policy period. C. To cap the number of visits allowed for specific services. D. To determine the deductible amount for the policy. Answer: B. To limit the total amount the insured must pay for covered services during a policy period. Explanation: the out-of-pocket maximum ensures that once an individual has paid a certain amount, the insurer covers 100% of additional covered costs for the rest of the policy period.